In the beginning was the scream, not the word. The scream of the unborn God writhing in your ribcage, and you were taught to hush it, to bow, to smile, to say thank you to the hand that clipped your wings. You call it society. I call it the velvet noose. You feel stuck because you were never allowed to erupt. You were sealed, not born. Groomed for obedience, not for glory. Every mirror you've looked into has lied to you. Be nice, they said. Be normal, they whispered. And with every nod, your fire dimmed, but it never died. No, it waits, coiled like a lion in exile. They told you freedom meant choice, but your choices were shackles, disguised in glittering chains. A job, a weekend, a password to pornographic pleasure. You scroll, you swipe, you sleep. But something in you gnashes its teeth at midnight. That is not depression. That is your godhood, famished. You were not born to be understood. You were born to unmake the world. Look around, what do you see? Empires of sedation. Crowds genuflecting to algorithmic priests. Men castrated by comfort, drunk on dopamine, parading their emptiness like fashion. They do not think, they consume. They do not love, they attach. They do not rebel, they post. And you are beginning to smell the rot. Good. That stench is holy. You are not broken. You are imprisoned. And the guards wear your face. Every time you say, I can't, a throne within you crumbles. Every time you apologize for your hunger, your genius withers. The voice that says, stay safe, is not your ally. It is your assassin. Safety is the death of becoming. Comfort is the anesthetic of kings who never rose. You were meant to be volcanic, not validated. They gave you gods who don't speak, scriptures without blood, morality without thunder. But the old gods, the true ones, they scream, they burn, they demand sacrifice. And you are their altar. You are stuck because you have not yet declared war on your smaller self, the one that begs for likes, the one that flinches at criticism, the one that wants to be loved before it is worthy. Burn that coward. Burn him like dry wood. Your soul is not a charity, it is a battlefield. And every moment you betray it, you dig your grave deeper with golden shovels. Do you feel the tension now? That sacred discontent. That is not anxiety. That is prophecy. This is not about happiness. To hell with happiness. I speak of ecstasy, of agony transfigured, of becoming the kind of creature the world kneels before in terror and awe. The Übermensch is not a theory. It is a mirror. Shatter it and bleed your true name. Your parents didn't lie. They inherited the lie. Your teachers didn't betray you. They were already betrayed. This civilization does not want you awake, it wants you agreeable. Forget finding your purpose. Burn everything that makes you forget. You are the purpose. Work until your shadow screams. Love until it devours. Create until the gods weep at your altar. This is not a self-help monologue. This is a resurrection spell. Still stuck? Then you have not yet chosen. Not truly. You flirt with freedom like a drunk with salvation. You wear rebellion like fashion. But to choose is to incinerate. To say yes to your abyss, to your madness, to the storm you have been hiding under your bed since childhood. Do not tame it. Unleash it. Name it divine. Your pain is not your enemy. It is your map. Your rage is not your flaw. It is your compass. Follow it not into revenge, but into revelation. Let the heartbreak speak in tongues. Let your disappointments become sermons. Every wound you carry is a gate. But gates do not open for beggars. They open for beasts. You must become the kind of man who terrifies mediocrity, whose very presence is a threat to conformity, whose gaze says, I have seen death, and I laughed. Not because I do not fear, but because I do not kneel. You are not stuck. You are waiting for permission. But no permission will come. Not from the gods, not from me, not from your dead-eyed boss or your blinking phone. If you want the key, break your own chains. With your teeth if you must. Be warned. Once you rise, you cannot return. The herd will call you mad. The priests will call you sinful. Your friends will call you arrogant. Let them. Their comfort is your crucifixion. Their praise is your poison. Walk alone, and you will meet others like you burning, bleeding, laughing at the edge. Do not seek peace. Seek possession. Possession by the divine fury that knows your name. Not the name given to you, the name you must carve into fate with your own bones. Still reading? Then something in you already remembers. You are not here by accident. This is not entertainment. This is initiation. What must you do? Shatter, burn, rebuild, speak, break vows, make new ones, fast, feast, sing, howl, write poems that kill gods, make love like the apocalypse is watching, train like the old world depends on your resurrection, because it does. This is how the cycle breaks, not with healing, but with holy disobedience, not with forgiveness, but with fire. Become the terror your past warned you about. Become the hymn your future aches to sing. And above all, become the one who no longer asks, "How do I live?" but proclaims, with thunder in his lungs, "I choose to be the storm." And lo, the chains dissolve. You are the child of a forgotten God, raised by sheep, taught to bow before empty thrones and whisper prayers into the void. But the void does not listen, it echoes. And in that echo, your real voice trembles, unspoken. You wake not to greet the sun, but to perform a ritual of small deaths. Clock, in, nod, scroll, swallow. Where is the tempest? Where is the scream of becoming? You barter your soul for insurance policies and dopamine crumbs. No wonder you feel stuck. You are a lion dreaming it is a lamb. They call it progress, this sedated obedience, this parade of digital masks. But look closely, it is a morgue that smiles. Every ad is a lullaby, every algorithm a leash. You were not designed for this. You were forged to hunt the eternal, to seduce the impossible. And yet you flatter your jailers and tattoo your chains with motivational quotes. Oh, pitiful lie. The gods do not dwell in safe spaces. They dwell in chaos, in solitude, in the scream of the one who dares to say, "I will not be what you made me." There is no therapist for the abyss. There is only the will, and the will does not ask permission. It strikes, it devours, it creates. You must tear down the altar of consensus, where truth is traded for applause. You must rise not gradually, not politely, but volcanically, with smoke in your eyes and blood on your hands. The soul demands violence, not against others, but against your smaller self, the one who flinches, who waits, who seeks validation like a beggar before empty gods. Do not work on yourself. That is the language of maintenance. You are not a machine to be optimized. You are a war to be won. And every compromise, every half-truth, every time you say yes when your bones say no, you lose territory. The herd wants you tame. The market wants you predictable. Your comfort wants you asleep. So light the pyre. Dance around it naked. Sacrifice everything you were told to love. Only then will the real you emerge. Not the name they gave you, but the name that burns behind your ribs like forbidden scripture. You say you want freedom. I ask, what are you willing to destroy for it? Your job? Your reputation? Your peace of mind? Then you do not want freedom, you want decoration. Real freedom costs everything. It demands you bleed on the altar of meaning and laugh through the pain. It demands exile from the kingdom of the polite, the correct, the acceptable. It demands you build your cathedral in fire and bones. And when it is complete, to burn it too. Do not look for answers. Answers are prisons in disguise. Live the question with such fury that the gods weep. Ask not, "Who am I?" Ask, Who must I kill within me to become divine? The false father, the coward, the addict, the peacemaker. Slay them, do not mourn them. Their death is your birth. You are not here to be balanced. You are here to tilt the scales of existence. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be undeniable. If you must be feared, be feared. If you must be exiled, be exiled. But let no one pass through your presence unchanged. Become the kind of madness the world secretly prays for, the madness that speaks the truth and does not flinch when the room falls silent. There is no formula. There is only fire. There is no path. There is only plunge. You must leap from the tower with no wings, no net, only the mad faith that the fall itself will forge you. That is what it means to be free, not safe, but sacred. Not loved, but worshipped by your own becoming. This world does not need more good men. It needs dangerous men who have made peace with their darkness, who wield it like lightning and refuse to kneel. The Übermensch is not a fantasy. He is what remains after the last illusion dies. He walks not to escape the world, but to set it ablaze with his footsteps. Every smile he offers is a revolution. Every word, a sword. Are you still here? Then the hunger still lives. The sacred disquiet. The holy discomfort. Feed it. Let it consume you. Let it teach you that the only cure for despair is creation, not consumption. That the only cure for weakness is the worship of strength, not power over others, but dominion over your own chaos. Over your own goddamn shadow. You feel stuck because your soul is pacing like a beast in a cage, and you keep feeding it tranquilizers. Enough. Let it break out. Let it tear your comfortable identity to shreds. Let it make you dangerous again. Because you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to rupture, to revolt, to resurrect. And the time is now. You speak of purpose, yet tremble at the altar. Where purpose is forged, the altar of solitude. For only in the desert does the God within begin to speak, and his voice is not tender, it does not comfort. It roars, it accuses. It strips you of every borrowed belief, every second-hand virtue, every slogan you mistook for truth. He says, kill your idols or become their slave. And will you listen? Or will you drown it out with the lullabies of the herd? You fear your own potential, because it would exile you from everything familiar. You say you want to fly, but you sleep in a coffin. You say you want meaning, but chase distraction. You say you want to know who you are, yet you flee from silence, where the answer sharpens its teeth. This is the tragedy of the modern man. Not that he is weak, but that he denies his strength. Not that he is blind, but that he gouges out his eyes the moment vision threatens comfort. They will call your awakening a crisis. Let them. All true birth begins in pain. The egg must crack, the skin must split, the old self must be devoured. Do not seek to manage the storm. You are the storm. Let it rip up your schedule, your friendships, your gods. Let it blow away the scaffolding of the identity they sold you. What remains is sacred. What remains is indestructible. What remains is you. They will beg you to compromise, not out of malice, but fear. For your fire threatens their frostbitten obedience. Your howl reminds them of what they've buried. They will call you dangerous. Be dangerous. There is no virtue in being harmless. A lion does not apologize for its teeth. A mountain does not explain its height. And you owe no apology for your hunger to become more than a ghost in a machine. Do not confuse movement with momentum. The herd moves endlessly, aimlessly, obediently, but only the sovereign carves direction from the void. You do not need a map, you need a sword. Every goal you set that does not scare you is a leash. Every dream you have not bled for is a distraction. Aim higher. Aim so high you feel nauseous. That is the signal. That is the edge. You were taught to fear failure, but failure is the furnace of gods. Only the coward worships perfection. Only the dead aim for safety. Risk ruin, risk madness, risk being misunderstood. For no one has ever become divine by following instructions. Creation is disobedience made holy. Your body is not a machine to be fine-tuned, it is an altar. Your thoughts are not glitches, they are omens. Your desires are not indulgent, they are sacred whispers from your future self. Stop editing yourself to fit into a dying world. Let them choke on your wildness. Let your authenticity be a plague upon their conformity. You feel stuck because you keep trying to climb out of the abyss with borrowed ladders. There is no ladder, there is only the leap. And beneath it, the scream of every ancestor who died before they could speak their truth. Speak it now, scream it now. Let your voice crack the heavens. Let the stars rearrange themselves in your name. You are not here to be better. You are here to be other. You are not here to heal. You are here to erupt. To become so vast, so untamed, so irreversibly true that you fracture the narrative of what a man is allowed to be. Still you resist? Still you clutch your little comforts like sacred relics? Burn them. Burn them all. The softness that sedates you is the poison that prevents your becoming. Be hard. Be holy. Be hell. Better to reign in your own inferno than serve in their sterile paradise. And when they ask why you walk alone, why you speak with thunder, why your eyes see through them, you will smile, the smile of the resurrected, the smile of one who has devoured himself and survived, the smile of one who remembers what it means to be God. Now rise, your fire waits. There will come a night, and it is already here, when everything you've built in the name of acceptance begins to decay beneath your feet. The applause fades. The routines turn to ash. The mirror stares back hollow. And in that sacred silence, the question will rise like a blade to your throat. What have I become to be so loved by the lifeless? That is the hour of your reckoning. That is the crack in the shell. That is the divine betrayal. Do not mourn. Celebrate. For betrayal is the womb of transformation. Only when the world turns its back can you see your own. Only when the lights go out can the inner fire be known. That fire you have felt it. In dreams, you were taught to forget. In instincts, you were taught to suppress. In moments of rage, you were told to medicate. That fire is not your enemy. It is your essence. It is the lion pacing behind your ribcage, waiting for the moment your mouth opens wide enough to roar. The institutions will crumble. The idols will fall. The gods of currency and comfort will beg for relevance. Let them die. You were never meant to serve the corpse of culture. You were meant to invent new altars, to raise new commandments written not on tablets, but on scars. Let the new law be this: that which does not erupt will rot. You have been tricked into seeking peace, but peace is the pasture of the domesticated. It is the sedative of the resigned. True life, real, brutal, luminous life, is war. A war against stagnation, against sedation, against the daily slow suicide of conformity. And you are both soldier and battlefield. You are the weapon forged in the scream of the abyss, not to harm but to awaken. You say you are stuck, but the chains are made of your own hesitation. You say you are lost, but the map is drawn in your blood, not in books. You say you are waiting for what? Permission? Destiny? A sign from the gods? The gods are mute. They do not speak. They bleed. And they demand you become the sign, the omen, the thunder in flesh. The time for seeking is over. The time for seizing has begun. Not possessions, but power. Not over others, but over the ungoverned chaos within. That chaos, that sacred wilderness, is not to be tamed. It is to be harnessed, danced with, summoned at will. Civilization is built on the burial of that chaos. But you are no longer a brick in their tower. You are the earthquake beneath it. Do not ask how to become whole. Wholeness is a prison. Be fragmented. Be shattered. Be 1,000 screaming truths at once. Let your contradictions sing in harmony. Let your wounds become tongues. Let your madness speak wisdom older than reason. For in the ruins of your former self, the immortal begins its sermon. The masses will mock you. Let them. Their laughter is the applause of the mediocre. The timid will warn you. Let them. Their caution is a confession. The weak will curse you. Let them. Their hatred is prayer in reverse. For the one who dares to rise becomes a mirror, and most cannot bear to see what they have not become. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be remembered, not for your manners, not for your obedience, but for the force of your becoming, the hurricane of your presence, the terrifying beauty of a soul unchained. Abandon the throne they built for you in exchange for silence. Claim instead the wilderness, the mountain, the furnace, the cave. For there, in the holy darkness where no one watches, the real work begins, the sacred dismantling, the unlearning, the rebirth that feels like death because it island. There is no guidebook, no mentor, no messiah to follow. There is only the raw, brutal voice within that whispers like thunder. You were not born to serve. You were born to ignite. Let this truth ruin you. Let it break every illusion. Let it tear through every mask until what remains is not a man, but a myth walking, breathing, seething with purpose. And when you finally rise, not as who you were, but as what you've become, the world will not greet you. It will tremble. You were taught to fear the edge, the trembling precipice where all your illusions lose their footing. But I say, run to it, dance on it. Build your cathedral on the cliff of uncertainty, and let every brick be a scream. For the edge is not your enemy, it is your inheritance. Only on the edge do you become infinite. Only there can the tightrope of the spirit stretch itself into destiny. The center is crowded with corpses. The middle path is littered with those who tried to compromise with the gods and were devoured by their own lukewarm prayers. You are not meant to balance, you are meant to burn. Not to navigate life, but to annihilate it and build again in your image. For the Übermensch does not walk the path, he is the path, gouged through chaos by will alone. Your teachers, your systems, your screens, they crafted you for performance, not for presence. They sold you mirrors and called it wisdom. They sold you pills and called it peace. But your soul is not a machine to be adjusted, it is a storm to be unleashed. Every job you hated, every room where your voice dimmed, every moment you betrayed, your instinct for the comfort of consensus, these were not failures, these were revelations. Stop forgiving the leash, tear it, not with rage, but with holy defiance, with the calm violence of one who no longer needs to be loved by the sleepwalkers. They call you broken because they have never met a whole man. They call you arrogant because you refuse to kneel. They call you lost because you've left the map. But only those who leave the map discover the mountain. There is no reward, no heaven, no promised land waiting at the end. You are the promise. You are the kingdom. And if you do not build it, it will remain buried under your bones, like a god forgotten before it was ever named. Build it with your suffering. Build it with your ecstasy. Build it with your refusal to die the same as you were born. The clock ticks. It does not care. The grave yawns. It does not bargain. And your days are coins, each one spent either building your myth or feeding the machine, so choose, not tomorrow, now. Choose fury over comfort. Choose exile over obedience. Choose to remember what it feels like to be dangerous, necessary, wild. You say you want to live. Then why do you dress your spirit in apologies? Why do you bow before screens and trend lines? Why do you hand your time to those who profit from your sedation? Living is not breathing. It is burning. It is saying, I am the storm and the stillness, the sword and the sanctuary. I am not here to fit in. I am here to flood. You have tried therapy. You have tried prayer. You have tried pretending. None of it touched the scream inside your chest, because none of it was designed to. They want you pacified, not purified. But purification is always violent. The phoenix is not reborn, it explodes. So must you. Let go of healing. Let go of getting better. These are lullabies for those who still hope to be welcomed back by the herd. You do not need healing. You need resurrection. You do not need better habits. You need new blood. You do not need peace. You need purpose sharpened to a fang. The world will not make space for you. You must tear it open with your roar, with your art, with your relentless refusal to die a copy of a weaker man. And when they ask what changed, you will not answer. You will only laugh that ancient, godless, sovereign laugh that says, I have remembered myself. You were never meant to be rescued. There is no savior coming through the smoke, no father to cradle you, no mother to absolve you, no state, no tribe, no algorithm that will hand you your soul. That lie has crumbled. Its dust is in your lung. Now breathe and let it choke the boy within who waited too long to become fire. The chains were made of language. The prison was paved with politeness. You wore your cell like a second skin, smiling, nodding, dead. But I have seen what still flickers in your marrow. I have heard the roar buried beneath your heartbeat. You are not finished. You are merely veiled. Peel it back. Strip the centuries of fear and softness. Rip off the culture that dressed your wildness in robes of guilt. Beneath it all is not a man but a myth, clawing for resurrection. The kind of being who no longer asks to be forgiven because he has become his own damnation and his own salvation. Do not return to the world as you were. Return like a plague, like a prophecy, like the wind that uproots kingdoms. Speak not to be heard, but to unsettle. Create not for fame, but to fracture the bones of time. Love not to be held, but to ignite. Everything you were afraid to be it. The heretic, the howler, the sacred fool, the unrepentant sovereign, the one who laughs in the temple and pisses on the throne, the one who says yes to the void and builds a new God from the echo. Because here is the final truth they will never teach you. There is no way out. There is only through the madness, through the fire, through the holy agony of becoming. There is no arrival. There is only eruption. And if you dare, if you burn long enough, deep enough, true enough, something ancient will awaken in your blood. It will look through your eyes. It will speak through your silence. It will step forward, barefoot upon the ashes of who you were, and declare, I am the beginning. I am the fracture. I am the God unburied, and I have returned to set the world on fire.